Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to talk about the new trailer that came out for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Obviously, if you have not seen it already, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. So obviously the first thing and the biggest thing that I obviously talk about is Sonic's redesign. Obviously, you know I'm in the minority on this opinion, but I was actually kind of fine with the original design. I completely understand anyone who wasn't, but just for me personally, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I mean, obviously I like the new design. I'm like, hey, obviously it's borderlining, obviously meant to be more traditional Sonic, but I was kind of fine with the design. So I'm like, oh, I could go either way. I know it's super blasphemous for me to say that, but still, anyway, I do think obviously the new design does look great. Obviously, like I said, it is more reminiscent of traditional Sonic. But what I thought was kind of interesting was the whole aspect of the trailer, because I thought it was kind of interesting because maybe they did this purposely, but a lot of this stuff from the first trailer, you see some similar shots in certain regards, but a lot of this trailer is obviously new. I mean, that's typically how this whole thing works, but maybe they did it on purpose where, you know, they didn't give you too many opportunities to do a side-by-side of like, oh, this is what the original Sonic looked like in this scene, and in this one, how this new Sonic looks in the same scene. Like, obviously, like I said, there are examples of it, but I feel like there's not a lot. I do like that, you know, and it's something I kind of talked about with the first trailer. It looked like fun, and it seems like in this trailer they're having even more fun. The way, and once again, I get giddy about speedsters, so like seeing Sonic get all speedy and stuff like that, just the effect of it. I nerd out on just stuff like that alone. Him playing baseball and just having conversations with himself, being like playing different versions of himself, you know, and even racing. I did like the trailer did bring up some interesting things of like Sonic has talked about the fact is that even in his own world, it almost seems like everyone is after his powers, which is interesting because his traditional main antagonist, Eggman, doesn't even exist. So who in his world was trying to take his power? Has he actually been a hero in his world? Is he just a slacker that's just like, you know, I'm gonna go to some other world? Does he stumble upon this world? You know, some theories I heard was like Eggman brought him to this world. Like, I'm curious about it. It seemed like it was probably maybe a thing of kind of like, it's like, I'm bored of this world, I'm gonna go to another world where I can just do whatever I want. I'm curious what the circumstances are that led him to this world, which is interesting, you know, conversation in itself, because now we got more of a peek at Sonic's world. You can see like legitimately a level from Sonic in the game. I think it's the Green Hill Zone. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. I know I'm not trying to show myself to be some big Sonic fan. I think Sonic is cool. I've seen a little here and there with the games, but I've never really, I played some way back in the day on the Sega Genesis. That's my extent with Sonic. I've not kept up with the Sonic lore and locations. Like I said, that's just something from like my childhood. So, you know, it doesn't stick to me. So I'm not trying to claim to be a true Sonic fan or whatever, but I thought that was kind of pretty neat design. So it makes you wonder, I wonder how much at the beginning of the movie do you expect we would be in Sonic's world? How much will we see in the end? You know, are we going to see, you know, a Knuckles, a Tails? Are they friends he's already made at this point in time? Are they friends he's going to make when he gets back to his own world? Questions like that is kind of interesting to kind of understand the full scope of everything. But obviously, like I said, just that line of like, oh, people have been trying to steal my powers, I guess kind of use it for their own, or maybe it just, and you know, because obviously I had to get Funhouse's perspective on it, because I mean, it's actually something I talked about. I actually commented on the trailer saying this. I was actually excited to see what Funhouse would have to say about this new trailer, just because it's been a bit, well, for one, it's a thing that's come up repeatedly, because it's kind of a bit, yeah, you know, obviously they kind of give their own take on it, both jokingly and seriously. So I was really curious to see what they had to say. Obviously, if you haven't seen their most recent movie podcast, they talked about it up there. I mean, do note at the time of recording this, it's Monday, November 18th. I don't know when this is going up. Maybe this is going up Friday, maybe not. So I'm just kind of clarifying, because there might be another movie podcast out by then. Like I said, depending on if I move stuff around and where everything ends up going up. That's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you shouldn't have to worry about, but I'm just, you know, stating the fact. But like I said, reiterating what I've already said, it just seemed like a fun time. It just seems like kind of like almost like a buddy road trip or whatever. I am curious, like, you know, obviously what brings them together, because it seems like James Marsden's character is a cop and everything, but then it's like, what is the ultimate goal? Is it like, did, you know, Jim Carrey's Eggman, you know, Dr. Robotnik steal something from Sonic they have to get back, or are they just purely on the run from him? We don't really 100% know how everything kind of ultimately ends up coming together. I'd forgotten a point I was trying to make earlier, kind of related to the Funhouse thing. What's the fact is, they have brought up a point that I was kind of thinking too. Like, obviously we know they redesigned Sonic, but it makes you wonder how much did they change? We won't know until the full scope of the movie, but obviously I made the point of like a lot of the stuff from the first trailer we didn't see in this one. It's not like they took the trailer and recut it with the new design of Sonic in it and stuff like that. Like, we didn't get that. So it makes me wonder, a lot of the stuff we saw in the first trailer, is that in the movie anymore? Did they modify it? Like, for example, like the missile scene. I really liked it because I'm like, I love speedster stuff of just like time being so slow and stuff like that. Obviously, we got it in the trailer as well, but I'm wondering, is that specific scene still in the movie? Is it just modified with the new Sonic? Is it not there anymore? Obviously, him running on like the Great Wall of China was pretty dope too. It's just like I said, it just seems like I said, kind of almost like a buddy cop road adventure type of movie, and you know, I think that's pretty dope. You know, there's not so much to really say about it other than that. It has led to this very interesting conversation that I've heard different people's perspectives on the whole situation of, because Paramount went through the trouble of actually listening to fan outcry and changing Sonic's design. What does that mean? Does this mean it's setting a nasty precedent for like people? It's like, oh, fans get up in enough of an uproar, people will bend to the will and be like, oh, we're going to change it. It's actually interesting hearing different people's perspectives. Some people are like, it comes by a case-by-case basis. In certain regards, it's like it depends on the circumstances, you know, of you know, with each respective situation, because each situation is unique, because this is a very unique situation. But then Funhouse kind of brought up the whole conversation of like, the fact is, I think it was James in particular was kind of saying like, maybe studios will look at this as like we might not even bother taking a chance if we put out some stuff there early on, and it's kind of like, oh, people are not receptive to it. It's like, we'll probably just dump the idea, because spending the extra money to go back through and completely redesign Sonic throughout the entire movie, like obviously that cost a pretty penny, and it delayed the movie like 3 months, you know. So that was an interesting conversation. So that's something that's a kind of pull from this, you know, just, you know, stuff that I would have never really given too much thought of before. Our time kind of took time to really kind of understand like how a lot of stuff works. So those conversations kind of like sit with me, and I'm like, oh, that is kind of something interesting to think about, what this could mean for what precedents that this sets for other movies, and what this might be a precedent set for other studios potentially in the future that might find themselves in a similar circumstance. I don't know, I just thought it was, you know, just an interesting aspect to kind of tag onto this whole discussion as well. Obviously, you know, that's just kind of my thoughts on that later conversation about what this what this could mean for studios in the future with responses to fan uproars. But more so than anything, let me know about what you thought about the trailer. Did you like the trailer? Do you like the new design? Has this shifted your opinion on the movie? Maybe you weren't all for it before, but now you're like, hey, now that they fixed the design and everything, I'm all for the movie. Or maybe you're like, oh, it's cool they fixed the design, but I didn't care before, I don't care now. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. So next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.